In this video, we will be working on starting up our Android project and setting up a layout for our final product. Fire up both Android Studio and Genymotion that you downloaded in the previous video. Let's start with Android Studio. Click on Start a new Android Studio project. This will give you an option to configure your project. I have given the name My Instagram app for my project. You can specify whatever name you want to provide. Also, you can change it later if you want to. Next, enter your company domain. If you don't have one, you can just give some unique name which no one else might have. Maybe your first name dot last name. What Android Studio does is it takes all the information above and helps you create a package name. So my package name is com.vivinarana.myinstagramApp. This has to be unique on the App Store. No one else can have this name. If you upload your app with the same name, Play Store will reject your application while uploading or even creating the app profile. You can leave the project location to where it is, or you can provide a location or navigate using the button on the extreme right. Let's click next. This screen is called Form Factors, or what SDK you want to use. Since I'm creating a phone and a tablet app, I will use that, and for minimum SDK, I will select API 14, which is ice cream sandwich. So this app can be installed on any devices running Android 4.0 and above. Next, Android Studio provides a bunch of templates for you to pick from. I will not use any complex template as I'm going to build everything from scratch and my UI anyway is pretty simple. I will pick an empty activity. Activity here is a screen or a page. It's an UI element with which user can interact with. Think of activity as our first screen. Next is naming the screen or activity. I will leave the default option here. The main activity file is a Java file where you can write all the logic, and the layout file activity main is a drag and drop editor where you can add elements and design your screen. It's completely in XML. Let's click finish and get to some hands-on coding. It will take around 2 to 5 seconds to set up the project using the specifications you have provided, and you will see this screen with a file navigation on the left and two files open in the main editor section. We see our main activity.java file and activity main.xml file already open. There is a folder on the left called as manifest, which contains android manifest.xml file, which is the main file for our project. This particular file registers your application with Android OS when an app is installed or even before it's installed. You can see here it has an application tag which has activity embedded in it, telling the operating system that this application has only one activity or screen at the moment. Every time you create a new activity on or screen, you will have to register them with this file. Since we will be using internet in this application to download images from Instagram, let's ask you permission from the user. So right above application tag, let's add the tag users permission and provide the name android.permission.internet. This will make sure we can access internet once the app is installed on user's device. Next, let's go back to main activity.java file. You will see here we already have a function called as onCreate function added for us. This is called as soon as the activity is created by the application. So when user clicks on the app icon, it will check with manifest to check which is the first activity, and that time will open main activity Java and call onCreate immediately. And inside onCreate, you will see it calls a function set content view, and you see it's passing the argument r.layout.activity underscore main. What it's saying here is we need to access the resources where we will find a layout folder which contains activity underscore main XML file. The set content view will access the XML file and follow a process called as inflating, which means converting XML to Java. So it will convert our XML code into Java automatically and inject the code here. So let's go to activity main and see what exactly it finds. You see something called as relative layout. Inside relative layout, all elements are placed relative to each other or to their parent. You can see the graphical interface by clicking on the tab at the bottom which says design, and you see a drag and drop interface. You can drag drop any elements from the palette here and drop it onto our screen, and it will be changed to XML in the text file. Let's run the project as it is by clicking the play button on the top, the green play button. Once it compiles the code, it will ask you whether do you want to run the code. Where do you want to run the code? Either one of the running devices or emulator that provided by Android Studio. I have selected Genymotion and will click OK. And there you go. Very simple app installed on Genymotion and opens up our main activity. Let's close this right screen with properties. I don't need it, and let's go to the text version. I don't need to see the hello world text view, so let's remove that. And also I'm going to add linear layout instead of relative layout. A linear layout can be two types, horizontal or vertical. Horizontal is by default, which means items will be placed next to each other in a horizontal manner, and in vertical orientation they are placed one below another. Also will remove all the padding attributes added automatically. Next, I'm going to add another linear layout inside, which will be horizontal. I'm doing this so I can add the text field and button next to each other. Let's add the text field aka edit text with a width of 0 dp and give a weight of 1, which means don't calculate the width, just use whatever is available to you. And here dp stands for device independent pixels. We don't use pixels because Android automatically will convert this to pixels depending on pixel density of a particular device. The button I have added, I have given a text of search. Next, let's add the main feature, the grid view, where all the images will be drawn in a grid format. I have given an ID of grid view, column width of 100 dp for each image, and vertical spacing of 10 dp. Let's run this and see what we have. Perfect. As you can see on the right at Genymotion, looks like our basic layout is ready. If I enter something and click search, nothing will happen. So I feel we have completed enough for this video. In the next video, let's bring some things to life.